The nigga Puff was like, yeah, like first he was amping him to get Styles. Then he was like, yo, when we gonna get the chance to, to kick it, like we could just hang out, nigga. We gotta kick it.
This is
Puff.
Okay.
He telling me we gotta kick it and shit. And he was like, yo, why don't we like go shopping or some shit? I mean, like I pay for it. And I was like, what the fuck this nigga just said? I got the fuck away from him because I was like, this nigga, like, this nigga just tell me he'd take me shopping. I wrote for Puff. Not guilty and a filthy. Come on.
Gotcha. Take this money. Take this money. Oh, the G-Dep joint.
Yeah.
You wrote that?
Yeah.
You got a big plaque for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Yale said that you were supposed to sign the Bad Boy.
Look, they knew I was talented. They just looked at it and was like, I don't want all of the stuff that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
But look, at that point, I would have probably did the deal. See, there was no other, like, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Look, when I was, Jennifer is who told Puff to work with me.
Jennifer Lopez. Okay.
Because her first album on the six, Corey Rooney was the executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Rooney was my executive producer for Power of the Dog.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the relationship from Queens and everything coming out that put us in the same circles.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jennifer was telling me, yo, he is dope. You work with him. Like eventually it's gonna happen. I haven't had issues with Puff. I don't like him like that. Like I don't like things that he would do.
Right.
And make me uncomfortable.
So we're speaking on Diddy. We're speaking on Puff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't have that thing where we ain't had no thing. I wasn't sending nothing at him, big. If it was on the street side like that, we would be actively doing things to each other.
Right.
And we wasn't doing that. Right. So it gets to, with Jay, definitely not that. That's definitely not. It's just being competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I look at it, I go, whoa. So I always go into what would I do in a situation like this? Like when that type of thing happens. Like, and I'm going, I don't know. I hope things are all right for him internally.
Speaking on?
I mean, at the crib. Because in the statement they mentioned his
you're talking Jay.
His daughter
Gotcha.
would, being old enough to, because she about 13.
Right.
So it's the same age as his kids.
50 isn't just as bad as Diddy. 50 actually has a heart. He's a lovable thug. Somebody should ask Soulja Boy how loving he is. He's very loving. All that time they spent together and the way he believed in him. Oh my God. They were almost inseparable. Truth is, Curtis is a swish. Been a swish for many years. Everyone knows it. The reason why I haven't got behind Curtis Jackson is because the only reason he wants them out of the way is so he can take over. That's the only reason. Okay, there's a Sheena Lakani. Thank you for camming up, ma'am. You can cam down now. Until I get to know you, I'm going to put a banner up. Okay? And once I do that, I'll let you.
When Diddy walked into that courtroom, he looked composed, confident, even untouchable. But everything shifted the second 50 Cent's name came up. His eyes narrowed, his jaw clenched, and suddenly the cool exterior started to crack. Porters in the room said you could feel the tension rise instantly. It wasn't just that 50 had shown up, it was what he brought with him. Files, records, allegations. The kind of evidence that turns a private battle into a public storm. For the first time, Diddy didn't look like a mogul in control. He looked cornered. And in that one glance, it became clear something big was about to drop.
A beef between two titans of the New York music scene hits the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Why 50 Cent was brought up this week during emotional witness testimony. Combs and 50, they've been at odds for a long time. And now, one of them's facing the possibility of spending the rest of their life in federal prison, and the other is not holding back or hiding the apparent joy they find in that possibility happening with a guilty verdict. Sean Diddy Combs and 50 Cent. These two go back a long time. They have been rivals for a long time. And this week we learned that, at least from Diddy's side of things, this feud apparently went far beyond words. 50 Cent's name came up during the testimony this week of Capricorn Clark. She is a former assistant of Sean Combs who went on to become the head of marketing for his Sean John clothing brand. Clark rose successfully and professionally through the ranks of Diddy's world during her time working for him, which stretched between 2004 to 2018, so she saw a lot. Clark claimed that Diddy would threaten her, and she says he even kidnapped her in 2011. All of this matters as we build up to how 50 Cent kind of factors into what she said on the stand. Now, Capricorn Clark started working for Bad Boy after she worked for Death Row Records. Now, that's surprising, since Death Row was ran by perhaps Diddy's most hated enemy, Suge Knight. Clark said that one of her good friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and that's how she knew him. And in perhaps the most shocking story from her testimony, Clark claimed that shortly after she started working for Diddy, Diddy and his security guards took her to Central Park after dark, and Diddy said, quote, "He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me." It is an allegation that paints Combs as someone who is ready to take a life. But as Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, she brought up another rival of Sean Diddy Combs and another allegation that he made an ominous threat of violence. Clark testified, when working for Diddy, they went to a press event at MTV and 50 Cent was there. And just wait until you hear what she says Diddy told 50's manager. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson. He rose to fame in the early 2000s. You might remember songs like In the Club. You might remember that he was the leader of the rap group G-Unit. Now, 50 grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Diddy, also a New York native. He was born in Harlem, grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, just about 20 miles away. And even though they both had success in music, they both rose to fame representing the city of New York and the rap scene there, they have been longtime rivals. In 2006, 50 Cent released a diss track about Diddy. So almost 20 years ago, this goes back a long way. And in that diss track, he says, quote, "Who shot Biggie Smalls? We don't get 'em. They gon' kill us all. Man, Puffy know who hit that expletive. Man, that expletive soft." Now 50 is accusing Combs there of knowing who killed his friend, the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace and Puffy were incredibly close, but Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997, and no one has ever been charged for pulling the trigger. This all happened during really the height of the East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry of the 90s, which involved Suge Knight, who we mentioned earlier. 50 Cent has also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996.
50 Cent didn't just make an entrance. He made a statement. Dressed sharp, calm, and collected, he walked in with folders and a quiet confidence that said, "I came prepared." Witnesses said he barely looked at Diddy, but the tension between them could have lit the whole room on fire. What really got people talking, though, was what he handed over: paperwork, phone logs, old footage, things no one thought he kept. 50 wasn't there to play games. This was business. And the second that evidence hit the judge's bench, everyone knew this wasn't just a grudge match. It was a reckoning.
Keith D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive, might get sticky," with a pic of Suge Knight in a car with Tupac. Diddy, who has a lot of names, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and brother love is one of those other names. Now from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have
see
a
it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all can't
it,
see
man.
that he loves me?
But see,
you really, hold on, you really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, "After the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator." Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator, and she said, quote, "Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns." The prosecutor then asked, "What's the issue with an individual?" And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute, per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but
as soon as 50's documents were reviewed, Diddy's legal team sprang into action. They objected. They whispered. They even called for a recess. But the damage was already done. Courtroom had seen too much. The judge didn't stop the reveal. If anything, it looked like they were leaning in closer. You could see the pressure mounting on Diddy. He looked around, shifting in his seat, clearly trying to stay calm while everything around him unraveled. His attorneys did their best to block the storm, but 50's thunder had already hit, and it left cracks no one could ignore.
Cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun? I can't believe this. I don't feel safe, with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, "Oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low." Sad face emoji. "I think I'm gonna hide out at the playoff game tonight, LOL. Then the next day he posted what he did that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, "Free Diddy," playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty. Join us now to talk more about the trial of Sean Diddy Combs and everything that's going on inside the courtroom is Afi Patterson, civil and criminal defense attorney. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. We're focusing on what was a minor moment in the grand scheme of everything we heard in the trial this week, but there's this anecdote that Capricorn Clark told about what related to 50 Cent, but what Diddy allegedly told 50 Cent's manager at MTV during her time of working for Diddy. What did you make of that? Sean Combs saying, "I don't like the back and forth, but I like guns."
You know, I think it goes to the overall case. They've been saying that Diddy was a dangerous guy. If he made a threat, he could back it up. And I do recall reading that she said that his demeanor was very, very serious. And knowing the history, knowing his history, his violent history, knowing about the beef between Biggie and Tupac, I think that it probably frightened her. And I think that just again, her knowing about his violence, his propensity for violence, his behavior with her, his behavior with Cassie, his behavior with other employees, he's just continually reinforcing that violence. So I think it was a really good moment for the government.
Yeah, it's just, and it seems like there are these little moments along the way where there are some celebrity names that pop up. This case, it was 50 Cent. We heard earlier in the trial, Usher and Neo were at a dinner where Cassie was allegedly assaulted. It was unclear whether they saw that, but it was said that they were there. As far as the history of 50 Cent and Diddy, do we know how it started? I know that 50 Cent had a diss track, I think around 2006, claiming that Sean Combs knew who killed Biggie Smalls, but is there a particular incident that happened that made 50 Cent just seem to really start to come out?
When 50 Cent mentioned a series of files labeled only by code names, the entire room went silent. "This isn't just history, it's documented," he said firmly. The judge raised an eyebrow. Diddy's team looked tense. These so-called files weren't just rumors, they were evidence, possibly linked to real events behind the scenes. 50 didn't reveal everything out loud, but the implication was loud enough. If those files go public, it could mean serious consequences, not just for Diddy, but for anyone tied to him. Courtroom knew it. And you could see it on Diddy's face. He knew it too.
Review recently published by The Hollywood Reporter, the Get Rich or Die Trying rapper isn't mincing words on how he really feels about his arch rival. In the interview, 50 Cent addressed his relationship with Diddy, who faces a number of troubling allegations, including rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and sex trafficking over a string of lawsuits. 50 Cent says he's been very vocal about not going to Diddy's now infamous parties, which have been alleged as the site of some of the heinous acts he's been accused of. While referring to Diddy as his old moniker Puffy, 50 Cent said, "I've been very vocal about not going to Puffy parties and doing stuff like that. I've been staying out of that stuff for years. It's an uncomfortable energy connected to it." When asked if someone told 50 Cent if the energy there was off or if he went to something that felt odd, 50 replied, "He asked to take me shopping. I thought that was the weirdest stuff in the world, because that might be something that a man says to a woman." He would go on to say, "From that, I wasn't comfortable around him." 50 Cent would go on to discuss the brutal hotel surveillance video released in May, which showed the Bad Boy founder horrifically attacking his ex-girlfriend Cassie. That incident was mentioned in Cassie's now settled lawsuit against Diddy, in which Diddy allegedly paid $50,000 for the tape. Once that video was made public, Diddy issued a public apology. However, didn't mention Cassie by name. As it's been reported, Diddy is no longer able to say her name publicly as a part of their settlement.
I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
The video was published to Diddy's Instagram, but has since been scrubbed from his page. Diddy's rival 50 Cent had choice words about the brutal video, saying first he denied that even happened, and then the tape comes out, so that means everything that N-word says is a lie. When someone watches that, if they have a daughter and they can imagine her being under those circumstances, that stuff is crazy. Like they let him get away with it. With all the influence and power you have, the person you're with is supposed to be a part of your life, not be forced. 50 Cent has long touted his plans to make a docuseries about his longtime rival. When asked what made 50 want to produce the series, he replied in part, "I'm the only one from hip-hop culture that's produced."
Sources inside the courtroom described Diddy as visibly rattled. He started tapping his fingers on the table, glancing toward the back of the room and whispering to his legal team. This wasn't the same confident man seen at award shows or in interviews. This was someone facing real pressure with real stakes. You could almost see the moment he realized that 50 wasn't just talking. He had proof. One observer said, "He looked like a man watching everything slip through his fingers." Courtroom atmosphere was thick, and Diddy was clearly feeling the weight of it all.
Collaborated on a few songs together, and when 50 was an unsigned rapper more than 20 years ago, he used to ghostwrite for the Bad Boy founder. But 50 Cent made it clear the two just worked together. He replied in part, "I wouldn't call it a friendship because there would be disappointment between us if we didn't speak to each other. There's points that we work together." 50 Cent would go on to credit Jennifer Lopez, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, who 50 Cent said told Diddy he would work with him as a songwriter in the beginning of his career. 50 Cent said this occurred when he was getting back to work after being shot several times in May of 2000. He would recall, though, one time when Diddy called and 50's oldest son's mother answered the phone and 50 refused to talk to Diddy. 50 would go on to say he didn't want to answer the phone because he didn't want to ever party or hang out with him. He replied, "Puff is a business person. When people call him a producer, I see people that were taken advantage of who produce things that he took from them. He got credit. He's not a producer. He's been able to take advantage of the business and the creatives in it. I don't have any interest in doing that. I actually fall under the creative. So I just didn't want to."
Always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent.
He would do a lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like,
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
What made the moment even more intense was how calm 50 Cent remained through it all. He wasn't shouting, he wasn't showing off. He was focused, almost surgical. Every word he said felt calculated, like he knew exactly how much to reveal and when. And that's what made it powerful. 50 knew his story. He knew the timeline. He knew the details. And when someone speaks with that kind of clarity in a courtroom, it sticks. While Diddy tried to hold it together, 50 stood tall. Like a man who had waited years for this day and came ready.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 19th.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about?
Ensign has gone off.
When people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like, he said something to me one time, a long time ago. At Chris Lighty's wedding, he told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of No, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day?
I'm just not with all that flicky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic.
At one point, after reviewing part of 50 Cent's evidence, the judge leaned back with a look that said everything. It wasn't shock, it was seriousness. That's when the room realized this wasn't just drama. It had weight. The judge asked for clarification. Then more documents. Then paused for a long moment. It was clear something big was happening behind the scenes, possibly a new angle the court hadn't expected. And while the judge didn't say much aloud, their expressions spoke volumes. Whatever was in those files had just shifted the entire direction of the case.
And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
Tell him the story.
Tell him the story. So we talking about rumors, right?
Yeah.
And when you Google his name, there's a rumor that pops up. that he was Diddy's boy toy.
Oh shit!
Right?
Wait, so this is
so Charlamagne said
it's not true, but I told after he brought up the stuff with you, I said, you know what 50 gonna say when he meets you.
Oh no, I don't know that was going on.
You know,
I can't wait to run into him again.
What you gonna say to him?
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
You know what 50 gonna say to you when he sees. What? I heard Diddy touch the butt.
Yeah. Wait till I see him. Wait till I see him. I'm like, yo. Yeah. A lot of foul shit. Like behind the scenes, he would do some foul shit. Like hating on, like doing things with people I done business with that he done business with. He would say shit that I was like, he said that to you?
Right.
I was like, yeah, so all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and niggas don't know what they like till they see somebody with it. So they want the girls after you're done with them and shit.
Yeah. Leftovers.
Yeah.
You take your leftovers. A lot of niggas have my leftovers.
He was not offended by what I was offended by.
This is wow, they found Kendrick and Wifey.
You know, that's obviously doing shopping. They got the same outfit.
Yeah,
and
it's
wore
true.
it in public.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt. That was a nice shirt.
All
right, so when he said the shopping line in real life, what did you say?
I said, let me get away from him. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know, maybe I'll take you shopping and I get you some flash and you could give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the wedding. I always say to myself, like,
it was someone's wedding?
It was Chris Lighty's wedding. It was in Miami. Nori's there. Nori knows this because I looked at him like, yo.
After staying mostly silent, Diddy finally spoke. But it wasn't with confidence, it was with frustration. His voice was tense, his words chosen carefully. He denied the implications, said 50 was twisting things, and questioned the timing. But the more he tried to defend himself, the more it seemed like he was struggling to control the narrative. That's not how it happened, he repeated, but his voice didn't sound as certain as usual. The room listened closely. Some nodded. Others looked skeptical. But one thing was clear, Diddy was no longer controlling the room. He was reacting to it.
You being the only one calling this out?
I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
They said you're a hater. They said you're crazy.
You do this. Yeah, and now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting. There's all this shit that's coming.
50, you can't make jokes about it.
No.
The internet might come for you, bro.
All I'm saying
is, might come for you.
You see it now. All of these complaints. People were damned. They were and pillaged. This was what was going on. Right? And what do I get for I went through years of a hater. You're a hater. You want this and that. I'm just watching. Like, I look at things and go, when you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay, I go, oh, shoot. Like, then I think about it, I go, that had to be there. So when I was saying that he was missing, he just wasn't actively being out there because they was dealing with that.
Wait, do you think there's truth to the Jay thing? There's no way.
Know. Like, look, you know, like if you say, I have this thing where I'm conflicted when it takes you 20 years to remember something happened to you.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I go, oh, so 10 years, 20 years later, that comes back. And it's like all of Puff's problems are coming from the ministers touching little boys.
What you mean?
The laws are the way they are because because
of the priests.
The priests touching little boys.
Oh, who's this guy trying to get?
I don't know. Like, it's a simple suit situation, but it's like
20 mil. I can say it.
You still have to black his face out. You still have to mimic his voice because he's like,
but his voice wasn't even that different.
And a little deeper. I was like, almost like, no, that's you, young buck.
Yo,
I almost felt like it was him. I almost knew who it was. You know what I mean? I was like, nah. You heard what he just said, right? He's like, yo, certain things they let it go by because it's Puff. Like they would look, like he would say stuff, and it's like he wasn't like in the closet, he was like in the hallway. Now you see so much shit that you go, wait. No, this was visible, guys.
He was in the hallway. We saw the video.
You see that video. It comes out later. You're like, that's not the closet. That's the hallway. He didn't give a fuck. Like, you can tell that he was already.
Nah, New York is dope. Because when Fab, he was like, yo, Fab, we ain't party. Fab was like, nah, we partying tonight.
He's like, no, like, but he didn't party.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, they let that one go? Like, I had to say something about it later because I was like, oh.
As updates from the courtroom leaked online, Twitter and Instagram lit up. Fans, insiders, and even celebs started posting about the case. Hashtags like hashtag Diddy vs. 50 and hashtag the receipts trended worldwide. People couldn't believe 50 Cent had actually brought the receipts he always joked about. Memes flooded the internet. Some defended Diddy. Others called it karma. But no one was ignoring it. For a case that had once felt far away, this was now front-page news, and the world was watching every single development with full attention.
Yeah. Whoops and disrespects you with other like Kathy Coriana White.
All right, well, let's do it like
who was
this.
Actually carrying his baby while you was faking it. Why your husband don't want to put his seed inside of you? He put it in everybody else? Wild in this world, yo.
It's funny, you open up Beyonce's internet, it just gets weird.
Beyonce's internet.
That's what we're calling
that
it.
belongs to the devil. Unless you calling that the devil, she ain't nothing but an employee.
Oh.
Half of which dumbass bitch.
So, you know, it's funny that it's crazy you say these things.
Why don't nobody want to accept that bitch?
I think
she went and killed the girl Cats.
Okay.
A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was drugged. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and shit while she was asleep. You know, snacking on his bitch, killing people cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her a restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician. And she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop people. Guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started all the girls. Impulse control issues? I don't know. I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston. Why the fuck did that house burn up? Who the fuck goes to their childhood house for a visit and the shit goes up in flames?
That was very weird. The next day, within a week?
And no, the next day.
The next day.
And still, no real investigation on how the house just went up in flames.
Man.
I guess they paid y'all off. Like they paid y'all off for that Astro World visit and the shit goes up in flames.
That was very weird. The next day, within a week?
And no, the next day.
The next day.
And still, no real investigation on how the house just went up in flames.
Man.
I guess they paid y'all off. Like they paid y'all off for that Astro World.
So let me ask you,
Texas politics.
Yeah, Texas politics, man. It's that right there. We're gonna talk about the episode, but for right now, I just got to get your take on when we see a Killer Mike win 3 Grammys
and get arrested immediately after because Jay-Z paid somebody to up just so he couldn't have a good night. you, Sean.
Hey, man.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that Neuralink. You'll never outthink me. Ever. All I do is frustrate your AI. You can't quantify me. You can't even control your wife. You gonna handle a bitch like me. You can't even control that goofy bitch. You should have did a better job. Maybe she wouldn't have had to lose her mind on Kathy.
With everything exposed in court, one big question remains. What's next for Diddy? This isn't just about public opinion anymore. It could lead to legal consequences. If even part of 50 Cent's evidence holds up, Diddy's brand, partnerships, and legacy could take a major hit. More witnesses could come forward. More files could surface. And while Diddy once seemed untouchable, this case has proven that no one is above accountability. Courtroom may go quiet for now, but the echoes of what happened will be heard for a long time. And 50? He's already moving on like a man who just played the long game and won.